Ladies and gentlemen, one of the very important areas that the HR interview tends to focus on is about hobbies. Why do they focus on this area? For two reasons. Number one, it allows me to understand what you are. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were to tell me that your hobby is reading book or even watching television, ladies and gentlemen, it might probably give me an idea that you are probably an introvertish person, a person who likes being with yourself, a person who does not interact with others. Now that is a bad news. In today's world, we are looking at people who can interact, socialize, can work in teams. So my first suggestion has always been, whenever we ask about hobbies, don't just give one hobby, give 3 hobbies, but give one of which is a group hobby. There's a second reason why companies focus on hobbies. They focus on hobbies because hobbies is something that you do out of your own interest. Ladies and gentlemen, therefore the company will start exploring a little more. How much do you know about your hobby? The reason is very simple. If you cannot answer questions on your own hobbies in areas which you do out of your own interest, then how will you probably know or seek knowledge in areas which probably you are doing when you are not interested? So one of the things that you need to do is, whatever hobby you have, expect more questions, and more importantly, be prepared for the same. Let's go back and try to understand what can be good hobbies. Ladies and gentlemen, anything to do with adventure is a fantastic hobby. So if you are a person who likes going on long drives, you are a person who is into rock climbing, you are into trekking, companies will love you for that. Trekking is not just about risk taking, it's also about team spirit. So hobbies which are different are good news. If I am an Indian gentleman and I talk about cricket as my hobby, ladies and gentlemen, that is not something that is great, because every Indian boy especially loves cricket. But if a lady were to say that she is interested in cricket, the interviewer will be excited about it, because generally, yes, it's stereotyped, but the fact of the matter is, generally it is believed that women are not so much into cricket, vis-a-vis of course the gentleman. So if a lady were to say that she is interested in cricket, questions will be asked. Similarly, if a gentleman were to say he is interested in cooking, questions will be asked. I still remember one of the very interesting interviews that took place where a person talked about palmistry as a hobby. You know, the moment the question was immediately asked, can you read your own palm and tell me whether I will select you or not? Interesting question with a lot of sense of humor, a very powerful hobby to talk about. What are the hobbies that you need to avoid? Don't talk about conventional hobbies. Hobbies which others will mention. For example, I did mention about cricket for a gentleman. But there is another rule of stereotyping. Please do watch the video on stereotyping to understand what it means. Generally, if you are a lady and you look conservative, your thoughts are conservative, and then you come from a background which screams and tells me you are conservative, and then you tell me the fact that you love playing with kids as a hobby, now I am a little worried. Ladies and gentlemen, understand what to speak, understand what not to speak. Hobbies are a very important element of what you are. Now whenever you choose a hobby, as I said earlier, learn more about it, because further questions can be asked. Whenever we tend to ask more questions, immediately people say, sir, it's only a hobby. Ladies and gentlemen, don't do that. It is your hobby. Obviously, you are expected to know more about that than I should. So if you are into singing, you should probably know a few singers as well. You love playing chess, it's a big plus, because chess talks about logic to me. But if I do ask you, can you name me 1 or 2 good chess players, and you are not able to name, now I am disappointed. Similarly, if I ask you, what are the 1 or 2 opening moves in chess, you need to give jargons, the technical terms to describe these opening moves. You exhibit to me that you are an expert. No proof is required. Proof, ladies and gentlemen, would be on the basis of the answers you are giving. One of the very interesting hobbies I talk about is singing, and even dancing. You know why is it interesting? The moment you talk about singing and dancing, there's a very good chance they'll ask you to sing and dance. Please don't be taken aback, especially singing. So when they do ask you to sing, show me the fact that you can sing. Pick up a song which is an exciting song, sing, and make the other person fall in love. Why is singing a fantastic hobby? Singing is a fantastic hobby because the person who is interviewing has been interviewing the whole day, he or she is tired, and then when you come in and talk about singing, it's a good break for me. But ladies and gentlemen, understand the difference between singing and classical singing. The moment you say classical singing is your hobby, I am much more in love with you. Classical singing is not a joke. It needs patience, it needs perseverance. So if you are a person who has been into classical singing and has been trained for, let's say, 3 to 5 years, mention the fact that you have undergone the training for 3 to 5 years. I also wanted to become a singer. My father did give me an instrument. I played with it for a week, got bored, move away. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not what you are. If you are a good classical singer, for 5 to 7 years of your life, you are committed. Ladies and gentlemen, that talks about perseverance. So yes, it's a fantastic hobby. Questions that they will ask in hobbies could be little much in depth. So one of the suggestions I have very strongly is shortlist the 3 hobbies and do a bit of research. If you do talk about going on long drives, get to know a little bit about bikes as well. Get to know about the places you have been. Expect questions like, tell me what are the challenges you found when you went for a driving. Ladies and gentlemen, such questions when replied by you will talk about the fact that you are not just a person who is narrow in thoughts and your readings, you are a little more wider, and that's exactly the image that we want to make. Hobbies have to be prepared for. Go to Wikipedia, learn a little bit more about hobby, but when you sit in front of me and I am the interviewer and I ask you something about the hobbies, obviously you need to know more about the hobby than I should. Avoid certain mistakes. People talk about chatting with the friends as a hobby. Chatting is a negative word. It connotes basically wastage of time. Instead, talk about the fact that you enjoy spending time with your friends, discussing with your friends. The moment you do say that I like discussing with my friends, expect one more question, and thus you are controlling the interview. What sort of discussion did you recently have? It's a big plus. Similarly, do not talk about making friends as a hobby. Do you understand what a hobby is? Hobby is something that we do when we are tired, when we want to relax. Imagine the fact that 11 o'clock in the night you are a little tired and you want to relax. You don't immediately wear a shirt and go and say, let me make 2-3 friends. Ladies and gentlemen, ability to make friends is a strength. It's surely not a hobby. Sometimes students ask me, sir, I don't do anything in particular. I do many things. Then ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and talk about the fact that you do many things, but do mention 1 or 2 things that you do often. You should have a hobby. Do not ever tell the company you do not have a hobby. Ladies and gentlemen, there has to be some passion in your life, and that passion comes through hobby. A very important question that you need to obviously finalize. 3 hobbies, one of which, ladies and gentlemen, is a group hobby. Thank you so much.